Hello, I wanted to take a moment to show you all some features that Flocabulary has to offer. To start with, Flocabulary does have a section for the Georgia standards, and you can actually click on standards for each content area and find lessons that are appropriate for each standard. Then there are also areas for each content area. There's an area for language arts, math, science, social studies. And for example, let's say you needed to teach a grammar lesson. You can click on language arts. Then you would select grammar. And you can choose any topic that you would like to focus on. This can be something that the kids can do in small group, or it could be a whole group lesson. And let's say I wanted to teach a lesson on contractions. I would click on contractions. And along with contractions, there's a video that has built-in vocabulary words where kids can learn about contractions. There's vocab cards, a vocabulary game. The vocabulary game in itself will give kids a chance to practice vocabulary words and matching the word along with the definition. Vocabulary cards, I'll go back for a second. The vocabulary cards will give students a visual to represent each one of the vocabulary words. There's a break it down section where students can dive a little bit deeper into the topic. And then there's read and response. Read and respond. Read and respond will allow students to read a short little paragraph, and then they choose their answer based on they're given multiple choice options. And then there's a quiz that students can also take to further their understanding. And then there's also a lyric lab where students can actually explore different words that are associated with the topic. In addition to that, there is a section for teacher resources when it comes to contractions. So we just went over the online versions, but there's also options where you can print out handouts for your students. If you click teacher resources, it gives you an overall overview of the specific lesson. There are handouts. With the handouts, they include different worksheets. That's just an example of 2 of the worksheets. And then you can also click to see how this activity or this lesson is aligned to your standards or which standards it is aligned to. So we'll go back. That's just a snippet of the different lessons that are offered based on content. The next thing that Flocabulary has to offer is that there's a section for vocabulary. This is a portion that I really like because it's specific to each grade level. So you can see each grade level is kind of color coded so that you will know. So if you're a 3rd grade teacher, you would click on the Word Up Red. And Word Up Red will give you different lessons that are appropriate for 3rd grade students. I also like this feature because it's great for differentiation. You may be a 3rd grade teacher, but you may have students who are on a 2nd grade level or students who are on a 4th grade level. And so you can remediate or you can accelerate based on their ability. So that's one way that you can include that Flocabulary includes differentiation. Now I want to go back to grade 3, Word Up Red, just so you can see one of the vocabulary lessons. So in this particular vocabulary lesson, there's again a video cards, video game, all of the same online activities that were featured in the content lesson, but there is something that's a little bit different that I wanted to point out. When you click on teacher resources, you're given an overview. There are also handouts as well. With the handouts, The handouts for the vocabulary lessons are a little bit more in depth. And so you have the lyrics for the students. The students can also have a copy of the words, and then with the definition for them to take home as homework or study. There's also a section where students have to identify synonyms that are associated with the word. They have to fill in the blank. They make connections, and then they also have to apply meanings. And then this is a section where they read a passage, and then they can answer questions about the passage. This particular section section is great for centers. You can print off some of these handouts, and students can complete them during centers. They can do it with some of their peers, or you can turn some of the handouts into a fun little game. There are also lesson plans that are associated with each vocabulary lesson that's huge, and it helps you from spending a whole lot of time with the planning process because the lesson plans are there for you. So those are just a few features of Flocabulary. One thing that I wanted to point out is that if you guys are familiar with Nearpod, Flocabulary is also connected to Nearpod, so you can actually click on videos and use some of the Nearpod features. And students, Nearpod is another engaging tool that you can use. The good thing also about any of the lessons that are in Flocabulary is that you can click on a lesson, and when you click on that lesson, you can assign it to your Google Classroom, and you're able to see immediately if students have completed the work or not. So that is just a small snippet of the different features on Flocabulary.